Alright, so welcome to the Average Adventuring Party podcast, where when a MacGuffin isn't working as expected, inevitably, someone will suggest eating it.
Egg McGuffin. Very tasty.
Yeah.
Just for the record, when Iocus had that baby basilisk, was it an egg MacGuffin? I think that's going to be the episode title right there.
R.I.P. Egbert.
You don't know. He could be just fine.
We'll go back to
R.I.P. Floating Stoat.
There we go.
That sounds like
I
someone
mean,
else's
we've never
problem.
been there.
Yeah, we were-
What were you talking about?
We were never near the floating stove.
We didn't.
Floating what?
We didn't release this pissed off fairy.
The boat stoat?
I really, at some point, I wanted to find a way to give that fairy like a Rambo bandana. So when you guys come back, it's just this freedom fighting
Fairy.
fairy.
Triple F, if you will.
All right.
It's not triple D's.
Nope, not gonna make the jokes I was gonna make. Not with Stephanie taking a sip and being this close to me.
Yeah, I had to stop and hold that for a minute for a drink.
I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. Realized I'm in direct line of sight. So let's see, what happened last time?
Back pain.
Hey, I got water now. I can do water stuff.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, that's what I think. I don't know any better.
Childhood sugar in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, we had rescued Silent and managed to reunite with Brave and Shenarrah, but we were still trying to figure out how to get out of this place, out of this cave. So we went to sleep. In the middle of the night, it started getting really hot, and then all of a sudden started glowing, and
Not in
then
fun ways.
not in fun ways, yeah. And then all these humans came in through the caved-in entrance, and they looked to be Essonians who were here with Ardith that 1,000 or so years ago, and
He had a point to make.
yeah,
He kissed her.
Yeah.
And he stabbed
With
her.
his knife.
yeah, and
I
we
mean, both mouth and knife.
Yeah.
we ended up having to fight against them as we were assuming the roles of the original four inheritors, fighting alongside Ardith as he basically betrayed his party in order to use them to seal away Kemet.
Wait, so I'm an inheritor now? I'm gonna get tattoos?
No.
Tattoos on a fox doesn't look very good.
No. I think we were just temporarily filling the role so that we could see it from their perspective.
Joke's on you. You can get tattoos anyway.
I mean, it
I
won't
mean, we
look
have a
good on
tattooed
fox.
cow.
That and jewelry on the cow.
During that fight, you guys murdered quite a few people. And Ardith eventually took his spear and threw it through his significant other, Livia, and
Penetrated her.
pinned her
To death,
to a wall. And that's where we'll pick up, actually, is her laying, or rather her being pinned to the wall, blood leaking out of her mouth, nose, and ears, as the four of you are still standing there watching Ardith. He walks over to where one of these dead bodies is, and he puts his hand on it, and when he draws it up, it's got this, we'll say, sort of white and golden energy around it, and he reaches into one of his bags and pulls out just a giant uncut block of onyx, and as he pushes that energy into the statue, little pieces of it chip off, and then he walks over to the next body, does the same, the next body does the same, repeats this all the way until he gets to Livia, at which point he reaches under her hair and tilts her chin up. She's still alive, and he puts his hand on her forehead and draws out this energy from her. And when he does, she just lets out one final gasp of breath and then goes limp. And he touches that to the statue. He holds out his hand, and that spear just completely disappears from her, and she falls to the floor. and reappears in his hand. At which point he sheathes it. Suna, you are watching this whole thing, and
Don't kiss her, don't kiss her, don't kiss her.
just like when you stood up from the ground when this all first started happening, you feel a very strong compulsion, and you hear yourself saying, in both your voice and in a slightly different voice, "Did it have to be so violent? I could have just drowned them where they stood." At which point Ardith keeps doing what he's doing, and he looks over at you and nods and says, "Well, the magic necessary is very similar to what powers a phylactery for a lich. Unfortunately, it has to be formed out of the betrayal and death of something I hold very dear. Unfortunately for Livia and my brothers, that love is what I'm willing to sacrifice. Even if they hate me in the afterlife, I'll know that I'm doing the right thing here and now." He reaches into one of his pockets and pulls out a rag and starts wiping this figure in his hands off. And it looks very, very similar to the statue that's currently in Ardith's bag. And he goes, "Not quite finished yet, I think." He puts his hand over his own chest, and it starts glowing with this gold energy. And he pulls it out and holds it up. And whenever he does, very similar to the way that your own auras glowed when the drow was examining you, it starts developing these spots. Primarily it's golden, but then it starts getting these little red and purple tinges in it that look like open wounds. And he kind of grimaces at it, touches it to the statue, and some more onyx falls off of it. And it is now exactly the way that it looks as far as you guys have seen. There is a tiny little shield and spear on it. Ardith, very similarly to Suna, you feel compelled to say, "Where did you learn these magics?" Ardith shrugs and says, "I won't go into the specifics, but I made a deal with someone who recognizes how much of a threat Kemet is. What would happen if we left him unchecked? Our friend was more than willing to assist us, and all things considering, the price he asked was fairly reasonable." And when he holds the statue out, it starts glowing a little bit with all these energies in it, and he goes, "All that's waiting is for you. Iocus, you feel your hand, reach up and touch it, and it starts glowing green. Galdrien, the same, starts glowing yellow. Suna, the same, it starts glowing blue. Ardith, you go to touch it, and you pull your hand back, and you ask, what price?" Ardith starts to shrug again and start to say something, and when he does, his eyes just turn black, very similar to a tiefling's. And this voice that is definitely not his says, "I've ensured that you'll all survive this ordeal. On my honor. Your legacies will live on long into the future, and you will see your people flourish and prosper. You have my guarantee. My price is simply the service of one of your descendants. They'll have a meek, mild, happy, otherwise unremarkable life until I gift them with a small task to complete." Then Ardith asks again, "And when the task is complete?" And Ardith, in that same voice, gives you a nod and says, "When the deed is done, they can go about their lives as they will and are able." Ardith very hesitantly puts her hand on the statue, and it starts glowing white, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And when the white light fades away, there are 4 additional bodies on the floor. There is a man who looks very similar to Silent, a woman who looks very similar to Talia, a woman who looks very similar to Martiana, and for you two, a man who looks very similar to Wolfswift. They are on the floor unconscious, Arithis has his hand still on the statue, and he turns it around so that it's facing him, and he says, "I command you to look at me." And on the shield, a little blazing red eyeball opens up. He looks at the group on the ground and says, "I'm sorry, but this was necessary. I hope you forgive me." As he goes to walk out, he stops, turns around, looks at Livia, walks back over to her, and just kind of sets her up so that she's sitting against the wall, and fusses with her armor and her hair for a second and brushes it out of her face. He looks at her, kisses her on top of the head, and says, "I'm sure I'll be joining you before nightfall, but..." And he grabs her sword, says, "I'll make sure to drive this through his damn heart before I do. Look down on me fondly." And then he holds it up and sheathes it on his back. You guys see him walk away through a solid rock wall, and you are once again in control of your faculties.
That was unpleasant.
Fucking asshole.
Which one?
So, now you all know what price Arithis had to pay in order to seal away Kemet all those years ago.
And I'm pretty sure we know who his patron is now.
Have some idea?
Oh, yes.
Well, don't say the name,
I ain't
please.
going to.
Shenarrah gives a big stretch, wakes up, looks around.
Missed all this.
Are there still 4
Did I
bodies
miss something?
on the floor?
No.
Okay.
She says, "Did I miss something?"
Oh, just sex stuff?
So the inheritors have to die for that to work? Did they die?
Yeah.
So the boy back there is gonna die? So you just healed him for nothing?
Well, I'd like to find a different solution if possible, but I think we still need them.
I mean, have I ever seen or heard of with the druids talk of any type of magic like that? Using
The druids... So, magic like what?
that would require the 4 elementals' death?
So,
I mean, would I kind of know that it was bad magic, or...
So there are certainly sacrificial magics, which I suppose you could take the stance that killing is a morally bad thing.
No.
But as far as there are spells that require specific elements to work, so it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Okay. But still, that's got to be some powerful magic to need all 4 elementals.
Well, it is very powerful. This is the Warm Heart Seal. I wrote an opera about it, and it's completely gone now.
So, while I don't remember, I don't actually know I have draconic knowledge. Seeing this, could Iocus remember having known anything about magics to seal away dragons?
No. So as far as Iocus and the rest of the world is concerned, something happened one day, because Kemet, instead of basing his dragon flight in the center of the world, he based out of the volcano that was this mountain.
That'd be using the Forgotten Draconic Library,
Correct.
of course.
And just one day, this mountain exploded. And then very, very shortly afterwards, emissaries of the other 3 dragons started going to world leaders, talking to them about ways, now that Kemet was dead, here are some ways to keep him sealed away. And the one that eventually prevailed is called the Treaty of the Meek. So...
Just all this about sealing might have jogged something loose.
Now, as far as you know, dragons can hibernate, but typically, once they get aggressive towards something, they either win or they die. So there's really no way of getting them off their path. Shenarrah looks at Galdrien, sniffs the air and goes, I don't think it was sex stuff.
That's good, because what would me and Iocus be doing?
I don't judge.
Yeah, no. No.
You say that.
Well, I'm legally obligated to judge you.
Yes, yeah, you are.
Since you're not going to tell me what I missed, did you at least decide how to get out of here?
Yes.
We did?
I mean, I have an idea, but, whether or not it'll work, that's a whole nother thing. So, my idea was to use my ritual casting
Mm-hmm.
and collapse some of the stuff to kind of make a rock where they can climb up the rocks to the hole.
That's going to be a lot of rocks.
I mean, can make the hole bigger and just kind of...
So,
No?
yes.
Oh, okay.
So, expend me a daily spell slot.
Okay.
Would you like any of these guys to assist you with this?
Can you maybe help me, Iocus?
Sure, what do you need me to do?
I'm going to try to collapse around the hole to make it a kind of a climb up out. Like a stair type thing.
Okay.
She's going to turn the Audi into an innie.
Is it daylight yet?
So, you look up. The sun is probably not up yet.
Let's wait a little bit.
I mean, it might take a while.
Okay. But let's not actually make it happen until we see light up there. Just in case we have any, gnashing, horrific, dark, kind of eaty, bitey things happening.
I mean, there's a cantrip that can tell you what time it is.
I mean,
Do we care?
Yeah.
you know basically what time it is. It's probably like 5 in the morning.
Okay.
So Suna goes around, starts looking at all the different rock walls. Iocus, go ahead and just roll me a d20 and tell me if you get 10 or better.
10.
Would you like to apply a background to this?
Yes. My enchanted forest guardian, because to help in my forest and everything, I'm sure there's rivers and streams and everything like that, and I would assume that I would have created a dam in the river and streams, or would have made
Can't say
myself a
that
little...
Oh,
Can't
fuck.
do damn. Would have made some dams, or created a rock wall to hide behind, or so to kind of stop some people, or I would have done something like that.
All right, so roll me a wisdom check,
Okay,
plus your level,
plus my level.
plus 2, plus your background.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna need it. 16. So 23.
Okay. We'll say slowly over the course of the next couple of hours, Suna works her magics and gradually makes you a very nice even staircase all the way around the rim of the cavern up to the hole in the top.
I'm checking on Silent the whole time to make sure that he's doing okay.
He probably, when the rocks first start to shift, he opens his eyes and looks around, sees you guys and just instinctually scrabbles away, and then realizes you're not kobolds.
Galdrien will hold out a hand to him and says, Silent, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Do I know you?
No, you don't know me. My name is Galdrien. My comrades and I came here to rescue you.
Thank you. I don't have any money for you.
There's no reward necessary. It's not about that.
Then it's about these, and he points at his tattoos. That's why they wanted me.
Well, we wanted to make sure they didn't hit you for very long, first of all. I believe they were trying to use you to resurrect a red dragon.
Yeah, I can see that. My connection with my magic is very, very weak at the moment.
Right. Well, we're going to be getting you out of here. I believe I believe you have some dwarven friends that you need to be going back to, but if they could get you where they found you, they may be able to get you again, so perhaps we should figure out somewhere safer to take you.
If you know somewhere, I was in the middle of my clan's holdings, so if you have somewhere more secure than being surrounded by a few dozen guards.
Right, well,
Being surrounded by us is a whole lot more dangerous.
I was thinking, have you ever been to Lost before?
To where?
Exactly.
I don't know what that means.
Exactly. No one can find you if they don't know where it is. Oh, Brave, Traveler, here, boy.
The dog walks over to you, shakes himself, a cloud of dust poofs off of him.
Right, Silent, I would like for you to meet the Traveler. He is in the form of a dog right now, but that's temporary.
Silent looks down at him, looks at you. Do I shake his hand?
You can.
He holds out a hand. Brave looks at him, looks at you, turns his head away.
Oh, that's pretty rude. Come on, shake his hand. He's important.
There might be more bacon in it for you later.
Tail starts wagging. Holds out a paw. Silent shakes it. Shenarrah says, "Just for the record, I don't think we have any more bacon."
The butcher owes us as much bacon as we want, if you recall.
Do you want to go back to Overlook?
I was about to ask.
That's why I said there might be more bacon for him.
I've never been anywhere near Overlook.
Exactly.
Right, well,
I didn't say when he'd get the bacon.
I was thinking, Traveler, we might take Silent here back to Lost. Since we are already planning on going in that direction anyway to get you home, do you think you would be safe there?
The dog looks at Silent, looks at you, shrugs,
Safer than here?
starts wagging his tail.
Right. Now, we do still have the matter of other inheritors to find. We still need to find the water inheritor. Let's look at that compass and see if the situation has changed a bit.
Nope.
Right. So, Mardiana is still in the northeast. Wolfswift is to the southeast, kind
Yes.
of, and then the water inheritor is kind of east southeast, maybe.
No, just
Or
straight south.
straight south. Straight south, huh? Well,
Because we're down here at this point. Where is Lost
we're at the dig site here on this map. Lost is up there. Lost is up to the far northeast.
So we
West.
Or
could do,
northwest, yeah.
we could do Lost, and then we could aim for the northeast inheritor. Or we
Well,
could
that's
go-
Mardiana.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. That's a do not want until we can contain her.
I can get directions mixed up.
So, I'm gonna turn around all out of breath because, I just built these stairs for everybody that Iocus was supposed to help with.
I did help.
I did all the work.
Well, he probably lifted you up so that you could touch some of the higher areas.
So why aren't we going after the water one?
That's a good point. I don't know that we would be terribly far away, so we might want to head south and then swing back around to Lost from there.
Because y'all keep mentioning it might be a baby, so we might want to take the baby to Lost also.
That's a
So-
sound plan.
Silent looks up and says, "You want to take somebody's baby?"
I mean, maybe.
Maybe,
don't know.
baby.
To keep them safe from a murderous psychopath who has already killed one of the other inheritors.
And tried to kill you.
Shenarrah says, "I'm not personally okay with stealing somebody's baby, just for the record."
we could convince the mother to come along.
Yes.
And we don't know if it's going to be a baby. It could be the next of kin inherited.
I was just saying,
Unless
you guys
Salem-
mentioned it might be a baby.
Unless
so
someone has a better idea of how the tattoos are passed on when there's no direct line of kinship.
Oh,
Simon?
I don't.
Well, how did you get yours?
Woke up one day and they were there.
How old were you?
It was sometime last year.
And how old are you now? You're like teenage?
I just hit 16.
Yeah, so... Okay, so we might have a teenager on our hands.
We could even have
That's
a
even
full-fledged
worse.
adult.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. But either way, so that person probably doesn't know what's going on, so we probably want to take that person to Lost with us. So we don't want to go to Lost first, is just my suggestion.
Especially since it is a great distance away. And Galdrien looks down at Brave and says, sorry, we'll have to take a little bit of a detour first, but we'll get you back onto your throne.
I mean, you like traveling, don't you?
The dog shrugs.
Traveler.
Wait a minute. Is it a curse to be the traveler?
So,
It was a curse for him to beat us the first time around.
I suggest we start moving so that way we can get out of this ruins and maybe at the very least find some food.
Absolutely. Also be on the lookout because there's now thousands of kobolds across the countryside.
Right.
Which we had nothing to do. We were never near this kobold cave.
At least there's not a giant red dragon.
Can you eat them if you kill them?
That's true.
I mean, you can eat them.
I wouldn't
Oh,
eat
they're-
those ones. They were
Oh.
little,
Stringy.
that's one way to put it.
Genetically deficient.
Explodey.
Yes. Little unstable. Now, I think we should go ahead and head to the south. So let's get a move on.
Be careful going up the stairs in case I messed up.
You mess up?
I
Nah.
mean,
Really, the only problem with them is that they're
Suna
Suna size.
I'm taking like 3 at a claw.
You guys get to the top, and Silent stretches out. He says, "I've forgotten, even over a couple of days, what it's like to be up here. When you guys get up there, you can see in several spots on the horizon, there's just smoke rising past the tall grass
Fun.
Yeah, the tracks.
in various directions. A lot of it's coming from the north,
Oh, that's unfortunate.
and then a lot of it is coming from the far east.
Oh, we know someone over there.
Yeah. Maybe they went to Overlook. Dealt with the problem for us.
she's still gonna die. You know that. Okay.
Let's
She set my forest on fire.
let's get a move on and head south. And Galdrien licks his fingers and sticks them up in the air. Let's see. Ah, yes, that is.
Why are you testing the wind?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Sun's rising over there. That's east. So, that way south. Says the nomad traveler.
Relatively quickly, maybe within 3 or 4 hours, you get to where you see a town in the horizon. It looks like it's built on top of a beach and into the waters of this massive lake that kind of stretches in all directions as far as you can see.
I will
I-
give Shenarrah the short version of the ghost pantomime on the way.
As you're giving her that ghost story, which is not nearly as effective without a torch under your face, she catches your hand. Speaking of things that you don't remember when you got them, when did you get that ring?
What?
And on your hand is a gray stone ring.
I have no idea. Which is kind of disturbing.
When you look at the back of your hand, it's gray and it has these sort of black mottles on it. And on the head, where there would normally be like a gemstone, like an engagement ring, there's instead a fairly accurate representation of a raccoon.
I mean, it's cute for a trash bandit.
Uncle Moo's always had that nose ring and you threw up a fit, but this suddenly appears and you're okay with it?
Who said I'm okay with it? Someone snuck up on me and gave me a ring. That is weird.
I mean...
Guess they liked it.
You I know you've done similar things to people.
Point, but usually the ring was coming with me.
Well, no, like, I remember that one time you got hired to put that stuff in that guy's pocket.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not entirely far-fetched, I suppose.
Yeah, but here's the question. Who did it? We haven't been around people in days.
Maybe it was on the stoat?
Ugh, that's disturbing.
Yeah, I don't know if I would trust anything anybody gave me there for free.
Damn it, VD.
How did you know the NPC's name? I mean, if you're okay wearing it, I suppose.
You know what? I'm going to cast Detect Magic on it. 'Cause that's a thing. That's a cantrip.
You're a cantrip.
You're a towel.
You're a cow.
Come down right up to it.
Oh, you're a peon.
Oh, you're going to be at the very back.
Yeah, it'll be the absolute last one on the list.
Not the last one.
You're in trouble.
Second to last one. Okay. Detect Magic. You notice lingering magic and supernatural effects within a field of vision. If an effect is concealed on purpose, GM can require a check.
It is not being concealed, but it is magical.
Okay. Nothing else about it worth mentioning?
Other than if you take it off, it has an inscription on the inside.
Yeah. I mean, we would have taken it off and looked at it by now.
Yeah, if you take it off, it has an inscription on the inside that says, in Elven, chaos in the midst of chaos is not funny. Chaos in the midst of order is.
Someone has an interesting sense of humor.
It's not exactly what I would put on a ring.
And what would you put on a ring?
All right, so I would have one of those neat spinning rings, but when you spun it a certain way, it would actually have a little hidden compartment with a measure of potion in it.
So, a Dakota ring with a potion in it.
I mean...
I know what to get you for your next birthday.
Ow! Healing potion. Nice!
What's this about rings?
Nothing, Galdrien.
Someone liked it, so they put a ring on it.
That's why my nose has one.
Right. Well, let's see. Let's have a look at that compass.
The blue one has shifted maybe a little bit, but is still in the same direction.
So,
Getting closer, but not close enough.
yeah, we'll probably have to cross the lake in order to get there.
As you approach this this city, it's mostly wooden huts. Some are built on stilts, some are not. Some are actually built down far enough on the beach that they have to partially flood, even when the tide is not high. You start seeing the majority of the people that you see here are probably just a little bit shorter than Iocus. They're fairly tall. They're very broad. They have green, scaly skin and large turtle and tortoise style shells.
Turtle.
A lot of them seem to be like going into the water for things. There's also a fair complement of very much like Talia, just blue-skinned, human-shaped people.
Really quickly, I've got to ask: are there any turtle people around that looks like a scholar that are still in anything? Because we could be in grave danger if so.
No, but there is a finely manicured human with a shifty-eyed
Oh
look
shit,
about him.
we're all gonna die.
No, mostly those two peoples. There's maybe like every now and then a half giant or a dragon spawn, that kind of thing. But when you approach, a lot of these people wave to you. Nobody really bothers you in any way.
We've stopped at this village before. I think it was a nice place to rest and recover.
For a value of stopped.
For a value of stopped, yes.
We got dumped here by a transport spell.
Oh.
I mean, it was...
Mostly reliable.
I was going to say, the destination was more pleasant than it could have been.
Oh, hey, I think I saw that guy.
Yeah. You probably did.
For some reason, I just remember seeing that and thinking it's a bad idea to...
Yeah, I've never met the guy before, but I got a vague impression that
Is this what he said?
he was a little off.
And this, looking at our map, the city appears to be Gamos.
Yes.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
We're in dumbass.
No, it is Gamas.
Oh, Gamas.
Gamas.
He's like, I
I
cannot read
literally
that,
just
so...
misheard that.
it is Gumass,
Damn ass.
which is a whole different problem.
Well, being on the lake, it's probably like swamp ass. That's a real Louisiana problem.
Looking at the compass and looking at the map, would I be able to kind of triangulate where it looks like the compass is pointing me for the blue dot?
It has to be somewhere in the lake or beyond the lake.
Okay.
It is almost directly south, maybe a little east.
A little east, maybe. So if it's a little east, it's probably... We'll probably need to find some transport to go across the lake and keep an eye on the compass as it goes. Let's grab some chow and see if there are any vessels or anything that would be willing to take us across the lake.
Well, I swear, I
I do
had
too.
a spell that turned me into a dolphin that I still had to come to the surface to breathe, but I could swim like a dolphin.
You do. It is
But I cannot find
contemplation,
it.
and it only works in the ocean.
Oh, and it's not the ocean.
This is not the
No.
ocean.
This is a lake.
In the middle of a Caldera.
Yep.
Essentially a pond because we're on
It
top
is,
of a
it
mountain. And this is a body of water.
Although, don't I have something that I can use any of these?
No. Nice try, but
I
no.
think I do. I have
Perhaps.
land attunement. Doesn't that give me the option to?
No.
No?
Perhaps, if you would really, really like to, and you made a compelling argument as to how you accomplished it, you could spend a spell slot, use a ritual, and I believe water breathing is one of your spells.
It is.
So, maybe think about that.
Water. Okay. Or I could just wait till I'm in the water. Or no, we might not fight anything, I guess.
Might be
For
able
me to
to.
use it.
Do we want to all be walking across the bottom of the lake?
I'd be running across the bottom of the lake.
I was gonna say, why are we doing that?
I mean, I'm thinking pushing Shenarrah into the water would be funny since she's been complaining about all that dust.
No, I've been building a good relationship with Shenarrah. I won't.
So
But
I'm going to push her in the lake.
I am her uncle, so...
I mean, I could push her into the lake. You could toss me into the lake and then...
Yeah.
Well, actually, come to think of it, we could use a bath. So
Yeah.
let's see if we can find some
Lodgings.
facilities. Yeah, some not necessarily lodgings because we want to keep moving, but it's still pretty early in the day. Probably
Just
before noon.
lodgings usually
right?
have bathhouses. That's the only reason.
See if we can find like a bathhouse or something like that, somewhere where we can wash off and kind of refresh ourselves and use recoveries.
What's wrong with the lake?
They may not appreciate
Elves.
Oh,
us, harassing their fish.
why would you harass a fish?
I mean, I don't know.
Just get in there and wash. What does that have to do with fish?
It's their home, though.
I mean, I guess. But
Hasn't stopped me before, but
most of the time they don't come this close.
as long as the water doesn't start getting warmer, we're fine.
Why would the water get warmer all of us? What are you doing in the water?
It wasn't me.
Uh-huh.
I'm not in the water. I'm just saying, if it happened, then we'd be harassing.
Did you just pee in the water?
No, not yet.
Okay, now I see why you want a room. Can't wash in pee water. Iocus.
I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go. But I haven't gone yet.
Right. Do that somewhere else.
I was going to. She just asked about how you could harass a fish, and I mentioned that would be harassing.
At some point, you see, we'll say, somebody cooking something, and if you ask to buy some, they say, well, I wouldn't normally, but I suppose you do. And she walks up and kind of, it's one of these turtle people, walks up and pokes Ardith a little bit with a wooden spoon. It's like, you are a little skinny. I wouldn't feel quite right sending you out without proper nutrition.
Oh no.
At which point, she heats up another pan and starts cooking these tiny cakes, and then hands you each a couple of them.
Suna was watching very intently to try to remember how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any meat in this?
No.
Okay.
It is similar in texture to like a crab cake.
Okay.
But when you bite into it, it's all vegetables and kelp on the inside.
I mean, I can eat meat. I just really don't like to.
It's pretty good.
I'd rather hurt living things, not poor defenseless animals.
Do you happen to know of a place to stay?
Oh,
Or that we could bathe? Or?
well, you can always use the lake.
That's what I said.
Agreed.
This is something you check with the locals first.
I suppose if you were looking for lodging, you could just ask somebody. There's a lot of empty nests around here this time of year.
But otherwise, you guys are used to people bathing in the lake?
Well, as long as you don't make a mess, sure.
Right. So no warm water.
Fish pee in it.
Galdrien's going to pull out his compass and the map and say, if you don't mind, we're actually trying to figure out where this dot on this compass that we have might be referring to. Are you familiar with the areas to the south of here?
How far south?
Well, we aren't certain. We're going to be heading out onto the lake, most likely, to see if we can find a better estimate of the position. We know it's to the south, slightly to the east. It could be in the lake. It could be across the lake. I don't think it's
Past the lake.
Yeah, I don't think it's very far to the east at all. If it is in that direction, but
I suppose once you get into the lake proper, there's a few of the underwater cities, but they're not really inhabitable by your kind. Beyond that, well, on the southern shore, we don't really go there. Most everyone here, if they're going somewhere from here, they go to the southwest to the dwarf and giant lands, or they go east to Believe.
well, it is entirely possible we need to go underwater.
This is gonna be fun.
So, I can have us all breathe underwater for 5 minutes.
I think it's going to take longer than 5 minutes.
I mean, that's what I got.
Oh.
And then again, if the inheritor is underwater, Mariana can't really get to her, can she?
We like to think that.
Oh yeah.
So I do want to remind you, Ray, that Ritual Caster lets you have effects outside of the normal limits of the spell.
Oh. So it'll last longer than 5 minutes? They all say that.
Think of a grander effect than just you breathe underwater. So you talked about, for instance, turning people into dolphins. That's not a bad use of it.
I want to be a mercow.
Saw that thing that was like, what if what if your father was a minotaur and your mother was a mermaid, but you got the human half of each, so now you're just some guy?
Actually, if I get turned into a fish, I'm a sea cow now. Manatee! And I'm a monk, so I'm still armed. Manatee monk.
You're a monkatee?
A monkatee.
Underwater monk, underwater kitten.
Hey, Galdrien.
Yes?
Let's test something. Can you come here with me? And I'm gonna kind of step in the water to where it's like up to my knees.
That's not very far.
I think it's finally happening. I think Suna has finally fallen prey to my charms.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Shall I let her down gently since she's so short?
Make him an ugly fish.
How far to fall?
No. What is it, Suna? What do you
So can you
want to
come
try?
into the water?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm gonna use my ritual casting, and I know I can do up to 5 allies, but can I do it once on him first, and then do the rest? Will that be allowed? Just so we can see.
You're going to spend a spell slot either way.
Yeah.
Show me how good the roll is.
Come on, 20 with Galdrien a pretty.
Fuck. 5.
It's 5 total?
I don't know. Do I?
So,
5
dice?
plus.
No, don't look at that. 5 plus your wisdom plus level.
So 12.
Okay.
Plus any backgrounds you want to apply.
Any backgrounds you want to apply?
Well, I already used my enchanted forest. I don't think my self-taught chef could work because I've had to fish. I've had to fish before, so I kind of know how they move and try to catch them and everything. So
No.
damn.
Nice try, but no.
You can use the enchanted forest.
So
But I already he can't use it right after.
That spell.
that's during skill
checks.
challenges.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then my enchanted forest guardian, because I probably had to turn into a fish or something in the river to catch people.
Okay. So what are you turning Galdrien into?
A seahorse.
A giant seahorse?
All right. So here's what's gonna happen.
Ooh, sea dragon.
You guys watch Galdrien walk about shin deep into the water. Suna bops him on the head with her staff, and he promptly disappears under the water and then does not come back up.
But I see him, right?
Yes.
Suna, what'd you do?
Yay! It worked! It worked!
What worked?
You're next. Come on.
Excuse me,
Come
what?
on.
You had to spend a spell slot for that.
I know.
Suna, what did you just do?
There is a green and gold and red seahorse zooming around her legs.
You know the
Is
dead,
that...
the males, they're the ones who have the babies. So maybe.
So
I'm
let's
in
not
that.
do that while you.
Yeah, please don't.
So we can swim.
Okay.
We can swim.
Shenarrah says, I'm just going to stay up here. Thanks. That doesn't... Whatever happened there doesn't seem pleasant.
I mean, you don't want to swim in the ocean or in the lake?
I don't know what you did to Galdrien, but he's been down there for a couple of minutes now, and
I mean, he's kind of pretty still.
Oh.
All right, everybody into the water, and we can just have a fun surprise, and I'll just grab everybody.
Silent struggles the whole time and pops free, and is like, I don't so much with the swimming.
I'm gonna say 5 people.
Maybe he could stay here and, recover.
All right,
I think twice enough.
Shenarrah, stay with them.
That was the plan.
Okay.
Shenarrah,
Can I throw in the lake first?
Brave, and
Yeah,
Silent
of course.
can stay
Sure.
Well, I was gonna take
there. I'm a seahorse.
a quick dip.
I'm going to fling her into the water.
Yep, you throw Shenarrah into the water. She comes up.
I'll
says-
push Ardith in the water.
Says, wait until I tell Mom you let some forest witch turn you into a seahorse.
Yeah, like she's going to be happy with us anyway.
I'm just saying. At least I'll have that over you. No, Mom, I didn't let some weird magic user.
And so
As if we're not going to get enough trouble with Galdrien.
it occurred to me last minute. I don't know if you'll let me do this, but
Mm-hmm.
he can't see the compass without arms. Can we have a seahorse with arms?
I mean, you can
Last minute change.
you can make whatever abomination you would like to make.
You can make the rest of us mer people.
Well, you spent one spell slot on him, and you can affect up to 5 people. So if you wanted to change him, you could change him.
Yeah, I could change me to a mer
okay.
person.
Okay.
Oh, but you could also queen as a siege horse.
So would you like, since these two seem to be the ones going with you, Brave and Shenarrah and Silent are gonna stay on land. Would you like them to assist you in casting this?
Yes.
Okay, so each of you roll me a d20. Yeah, Galdrien.
And
Gotta have no, not
No
Galdrien.
18. He's like
13.
13.
18.
All right, so
rolling for
I'm
seahorse.
not going.
Rolling for seahorsiness. I'm not a very good seahorse, so I only got a 6.
at some point you look
He's
down.
a seahorse's ass.
Galdrien's just floating upside down. or rather, Galdrien is just like doing barrel rolls.
He has beached himself. Like,
This is not what.
So,
Uh-huh.
dice roll plus wisdom plus level plus background plus 4.
So 18. If you give me all that.
Okay. So,
That's why he's reciting it to you.
Suna thinks about perhaps her design failings, and boops each of you with her staff, at which point you feel these tinglies in your hands and feet and underneath your ears, at which point you gain fins and gills. Except for Galdrien, who remains a seahorse.
I'll
Sorry.
hold out my arm and
I was testing
have
the
him
water.
latch on.
Gonna blow some bubbles.
Pet. Pet.
Yeah, at least a moderately sized seahorse.
When you get a little bit deeper, Galdrien becomes a Galdrien-sized seahorse.
A sea stallion.
All of his bags and such are still hanging about his person.
does he come with a saddle?
I'm sorry about your loot.
But his skin now has the color of his armor.
I mean, Suna and Ardith can ride him. You're just too big.
Right.
Okay, so let's follow the compass.
I'll grab the compass.
Yep.
All right, let's start swimming, guys.
Glob, glob, glob.
Pet, pet.
You start swimming as you...
Actually, honestly, with it being a big seahorse, we could probably just grab onto him because he probably swims a whole lot faster than us, like humanoid shapes, right? So we could just give him directions so we can swim faster.
And I'll hold his tail.
Yeah.
and I'll form the head.
All right. Keep going. Keep going. Deeper. Left. Right.
Oh, if I had an... Yep, you guys hang on to Galdrien, who finally gets the hang of it now that he's not, 2 foot tall. And he zooms you quite a ways out into this lake, and there at the very bottom, miles away from the shore, is these very coral-looking buildings jutting up from the bottom of the lake bed. There are all kinds of people just swimming around them. There's several turtles as well. When you look at the compass, you can clearly see it's moving a little bit. So you follow it. As you follow it some more, there's a group of people talking to one another. You can't hear what they're saying, but they're talking. At least their mouths are moving, and they seem to be gesturing at each other. And one of them is a turtle. As she says something to somebody and then walks away, that dot starts following her.
That's the one.
And that's where we'll cut this episode.
With
Next
a beautiful
up, tort
seahorse.
reform. That's
If they made a seaweed pie, would it be a turtle tort? If they twisted that pie in half, would it be a turtle tort?
yeah. There we go.
I don't have a retort for that.
That's all I've got. The looks of confusion on these guys' faces, as clearly the laws of the world have been twisted.
Hey, I'm good with it. We have a seahorse and a sea cow.
Yes, you're a very obnoxiously pretty seahorse.
Uh-huh.
Are you happy?
Go zoom.
Let's see, what did I write down for the title? Egg McGuffin. Might have to be obnoxiously pretty seahorse.
Seahorses of the obnoxiously pretty variety.
Egg McGuffin and the obnoxiously pretty seahorse. Get them both in there.
I might save Egg McGuffin for something else. Trying to think if I had anything else for these guys or you guys at home, but I don't think I do.
Insert plug here.
I'll insert your plug. Wait, no. No.
Sorry, Ray.
No, just find us at the usual places. Patreon,
Twitter, Facebook.
Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, two tin cans and a string.
Smoke signal. Yeah. I got
Oh,
you.
there's plenty of smoke signals.
Exactly. That's how you know we're around.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Galdrien is on fire.
I'll put all the links in the show notes. At the risk of repeating myself, I would love to hear other people's feedback. These guys, once once the recorder is off, they tell me how bad I am. Off camera. So
Yeah. See?
if you guys want to jump in with that, we'd love to hear from you on Facebook or Gmail or wherever.
Do mouth stuff to us.
No, do mouth stuff for us.
Yeah, do mouth stuff for us. And then maybe we can do mouth stuff for you.
We've noticed lots of mouth stuff. Over 100. Right?
That's a lot of mouth stuff.
So many people like this thing.
So thank y'all for your support. It really means a lot. Any word of mouth that you can do, any recommendations, really goes a long way for us right now. So even if you can't support our Patreon, plug Patreon. Even if you can't support us through that, we will have merch. But we as the players, we as the GMs, we really appreciate the listens. That's what's really helping us out now. So everything counts.
We'll even do mouth stuff for money.
Technically, we are currently doing mouth stuff for money.
10 of 10 would do again.
On the topic of merch, we do have all of our merch out there on Teespring. I'll link that in the show notes.
Speaking of feedback, give us suggestions.
Yeah, suggestions.
They may or may not be ignored, but still, give them suggestions.
Well,
Suna should kill more. That could be a good suggestion.
I was going to say, we'll let you know when we're ignoring you.
What?
I don't know. I haven't listened to anything Mike said for the last 20 episodes.
Agreed.
Yes, that's why Random talked to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone on far too long. These guys want to know what's happening. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see y'all on the next episode.